Welcome back to Appalachian Dim Sum,
where our entertainment is our comfort food.
This is going to be episode 31.
Yes.
Yes.
And we are on to the dessert portion.
Coffee service.
Coffee service. That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
we've already had desserts.
Yep, we had the desserts.
There's a costume change. Yeah. We tackled the very massive undertaking of Midnight Mass, plus the other things that we've already preceded that in appetizers, and then our main course and our desserts, and got to the point last time we were filming of we need to eat.
The day's over.
We need to go home and
go home,
see our families.
Yep.
So we had to postpone our coffee service.
Yep.
And
we got our coffee.
I've got
yep.
fresh from Buc-ee's.
There you go.
Not fresh from Buc-ee's, but my last trip through Buc-ee's, I picked up a bag of Buc-ee's coffee.
I appreciate it. It's pretty good.
It just tastes like coffee, but it's cool.
This coffee service, we could call coffees and cocktails, because I'm having in observance of our topic, which is vampires, I am having what I am calling a Virgin Bloody Mary. It's V8, so I'm going to have some V8.
Brought one for me too, and I won't go into full detail on it, but growing up, I had to drink those more than I ever wanted to, and grew a very strong dislike for them, and just cannot.
I don't know.
A lot of things from my youth I've been able to kind of come back to and get a taste for, and that's just one I can't do.
I love me some V8 and Tabasco.
I've again kind of going off track there. I've did a lot of bartending in college and have made more Bloody Marys than probably most people can probably even process. Just because of Washington Lee and the immense amount of alcoholism in their alumni at their events, but despite the hundreds of thousands of those that I think I've made over the years, when I was still doing that, I can't drink them, man. It's that smell, I think. I always like the spice part of them,
yeah,
and the alcohol part of them, or I used to, but it's like drinking cold, like spaghetti sauce or something. I don't know.
Spaghetti sauce. I can understand that.
Yeah. I think it really is a texture thing for me on that.
Right, well, I'll keep it over here away from you, so you don't have to smell
it. It won't be offensive. I just don't think I'll join you.
That's fine. More for me later. But we're going to talk about vampires this time, and it was an easy choice for topic because of Midnight Mass.
Our follow up to Midnight Mass, which I guess in some ways you could probably debate into that whether or not that was a traditional vampire or not. It's definitely was based on a lot of the mythology of vampirism and stuff, but there were some things that were probably more demonic than just traditional vampires, which I guess maybe that's all the same.
I'm definitely still curious the core concept of the vampire Midnight Mass. Like, was he intending it to be anything other than just like this is a vampire? Because they called it an angel, like the characters in the or at least Paul thought it was an angel. But that was really, he was really colored by the fact that he was already turned by it. So I would really love to know the origin of the concept for
on my list of things to do is go back in and kind of dive deeper into the passages and read more about God's war with Satan and the fallen angels. And I don't have enough of that committed to gray matter to really dive deep into that. But that's how I almost feel like that creature is like, it's really not Nosferatu, but kind of more like a fallen angel that got lost and got trapped in a cave.
And some of the concepts that we're going to talk about with vampires, it touches on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And man, I could do an impromptu episode just about the Gregorian, the Nephilim, and all those.
I don't have enough background in that to not just be repeating things that I've heard other people say, and I haven't read that enough to feel like I really know how to talk about that. But it's on my list of things to kind of get into. It's finding the time.
And I think Midnight Mass really sits comfortably in one of my favorite genres. I don't know what you would call it, but I think of it as like religious fiction, where
Yeah.
you take the themes and the visuals of any religion, really. But because I grew up in the West, so Christianity is what I'm really familiar with.
Yeah.
If it has Christian themes, I'm like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like pointing to the camera or pointing to the TV, like, "Hey, I recognize that." It is a kind of fan service for me.
The
Absolutely.
I think what fascinated me more with Midnight Mass was that I do watch a lot of anime, and you see a lot of takes and spin-offs of
Which is great.
Christian ideas and Japanese stuff, but that's done from a country that's not a Christian country.
Right.
And there is a large group of Christians in Japan, but not, I don't think the creators of most of this media are. They're kind of looking at it from an outside thing, like, oh, that's that thing they do over there, and how they interpret it. Midnight Mass was made by one of ours,
Right.
and that was why I think it speaks to me more. And I talked about whether or not what his motives were in that, and that's a whole thing we don't have to go back into. But even in trying to do whatever he was trying to do, it sparks a lot of thought and things for me. So that was why I'm just still so fascinated with that as a series.
When it comes to how like anime portrays Christianity versus how like Midnight Mass portrays Christianity, anime is almost exclusively surface level visual, and it's almost like a fan respect of it. Like they find it interesting, and
just like sometimes
it's almost celebratory.
Just like pulling the names of something from a Christian thing and adding it to something that's part of their creation, which
I mean, like the whole Fate Stay series just is like Arthur Legends and Arthurian. There you go, Arthurian Legends, and it's like, oh, but it's a anime woman instead of a man for Lancelot. I think
when they were creating it, it's like, wouldn't it be cool if we did this story, but like we made him like this character? Or I think one of the things you're going to bring up at some point here is the Hellsing anime, and there's a group of people in there that are called the Iscariots, which is Judas's name, but I don't know that they even try to link it to that other than just like, that would be cool if we called them that. If we called them the Iscariots. And some people that don't really follow Christianity or read their Bible or anything probably have no idea even that's part of the anime. It's just that's what that guy's name was.
And with the Western media, and specifically Midnight Mass, I think that the people who are making it, it's more that they want to say something, or they have a message that they want to portray. So it's definitely more, I think, on Western media when they portray Christian iconography, it has a bit more substance, I think.
Yeah.
Which Midnight Mass was a great series.
3.5 hours to do what we probably should have maybe tried to do 4 shows on. Let's just break it down into segments or something, because
it amuses me that when we first started this, we were like, all right, well, we'll do 1 episode a month, and that's fine. And it's like, well, we talk too much. We need to split it up. And we've split it up, and now we're like, okay, now we're talking too much each episode.
I'd love to see somebody that is a professional podcaster tackle Midnight Mass and not just give me some little Wikipedia version of it. I just don't see how you can do it and not dive into it. And
really, to dive into it in the way that you did last time, that's more like a video essay kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's something you would write out, you'd record, you'd have video clips and stuff like that. It's more of a like a pre-made thing than a podcast.
Yeah, and that probably shows at least my obsession with that series is that I didn't have hardly any of that written out. That's just, I've watched it so many times and contemplated it so much I could literally sit there and talk about it like that for twice that long if somebody wanted to sit there and do it.
But let's continue on with our discussion about vampires. And I looked up some stuff, learned some stuff about vampires. Now, mostly what I know about vampires is just pop culture. I'm not specifically like a vampire fan. I won't call myself.
Yeah.
As much as the next guy is, really.
If there were 2 sides like they did in the Twilight stuff of the werewolves and the vampires, then I'm a werewolf guy.
I almost suggested the other day, I texted you, I was like, hey, we could do something else other than vampires. I almost suggested vampires versus werewolves, but I think we can build to that. Like we're doing vampires now. At some
Yeah.
point, we might do werewolves, and then at another point, we'll do vampires versus
I think that
werewolves.
might be treading into Midnight Mass levels of content
The werewolves.
of doing a comparison of the
Oh
two.
yeah, yeah.
But that'd be hard to keep that one in a 20-minute video at least.
So apparently, there were epidemics, is what they called them, of vampirism in the mid 1700s in Europe,
Yeah.
and it was essentially people taking the folklore, the idea of vampires, and manifesting them in culture. They thought vampires were around, and this is like where you see, and this isn't true, but like where you see those images of like cages on graves,
Yeah.
like what we think is like, oh, it's because they were afraid of vampires. Now it was like a grave robber situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were doing stuff by like burying people with like spikes on their chest so that if they were a vampire and they came back to life, they'd spike themselves. They were doing that kind of stuff. So
That would
people were,
that would stink.
yeah.
You wake up, be like, sit up. Oh.
So one of the things I didn't know is I always thought that the way that we think of vampires was popularized by Bram Stoker, but it wasn't. It was popularized before that in a novel called The Vampire in 1819 by John William Polidori. And he didn't write much. He wrote a couple of essays, he wrote some poetry, a couple of plays, and a novella called The Modern Oedipus, a Tale, and The Vampire. And that's all he wrote. He wasn't really a prolific author. Let's see. And he wrote it in 1816 in a summer they called the Year Without a Summer. He was in Switzerland at the Villa Diodati. Diodati? Diodati?
I'd say Diodati.
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 And it was like raining all the time when he was there. And he was there with Mary Shelley, which I love that little fact because I like it when these powerhouses of culture are connected. Kind of like J.R. Tolkien is connected to C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love the fact that they discussed the Narnia series and Lord of the Rings series with each other. That's just it's amazing to think that there are these two people who are so like ubiquitous in our culture and everybody knows about them, and they knew each other.
So it's amazing what would happen if people got together and hung out and talked and didn't have cell phones.
That's very much what I was thinking when I was reading this. I was like, that
would have been an interesting place to just sit and watch if two people just rolling off ideas about fictional monsters or whatever. I mean,
I think when creative people get together, there is definitely a synergy that's going on there. There's this one graphic artist that I've recently become a fan of, and he's doing like little Wolverine animations, and it's like a gender bent Wolverine. And he was showing what I first saw of his was like the run animation he had for it. And I asked him, I was like, well, are you doing this for anything? He was like, no, I'm just doing it with my friends. I'm like, that's awesome. It's a side project he's doing with his friends. And he recently saw, he posted the other day, he's turning 25. I'm like, oh man, so much talent, so young. And you're with people that hopefully you do great things. That's great.
Yeah.
But anyway, the novel The Vampire was really the first time vampirism was associated with the aristocratic, where you had like the aristocrat male who seduced women and stuff like that. Because before that, it was just like it's a demon that drinks your blood, that kind of thing, or it's an undead thing that drinks your blood. And it did very clearly influence Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was in 1897. Okay. So there's like a couple of generations in between the two for the vampire story to.
I've never gone back in to research it. I've always assumed that the idea of preying on people and it always being related to this blood disease and that you're weak and all this stuff had to revolve around like sexual diseases that were going around at that time and people had no idea what they were, and that especially with aristocrats that were probably much more promiscuous, that it was a way for them to kind of create a story to kind of deal with what they're actually seeing, the fact that they all were giving each other who knows what
Syphilis.
syphilis and
Yeah.
gonorrhea, and who knows what version of AIDS there might have been back then. But
We know that when you look back on history, we kind of, it's always with a revisionist view.
yeah,
And one of the things, and this is one of the things I found that I'm like, I don't know if that's really true, but hey, here we go. There's modern, the modern take on the origin of vampirism is this disease called porphyria, and it's a genetic disease.
it
And
sounds like a skin thing. But I don't know if it's
that is a part of it. I'm just going to go through it. Acute porphyria. You have abdominal pain, nausea and vomiting, constipation, diarrhea, muscle weakness, paralysis, seizures, confusion, hallucinations, and liver damage.
so pretty much like if you take any prescription medicines that they advertise on TV.
It continues with the cutaneous
Yeah, cutaneous.
porphyrias.
Yeah.
You get photosensitivity, burns or blisters in the sunlight.
Yeah, cutaneous is like either skin or a subskin.
Mm-hmm.
I forget how you.
You got skin scarring, hair growth on the face and body, blistering on the hands, feet, disfigurement, joint pain, bone pain, fever, urinary retention, tingling and numbness in the hands and feet.
So pretty much like anything, if you take a prescription medication they advertise on TV.
Yep. And it is an inherited blood disorder, and it's that your body produces less heme, the part of hemoglobin. So
Okay.
it is a blood disorder. And this is where like when I was reading about it, because those symptoms to porphyria, I went to a medical site to get those symptoms. But then
that's always a risky thing to do.
Oh, true.
Just the pictures that you end up seeing sometimes are like, whoa.
But then the website that was saying that vampirism is tied to this disease has a bunch of other stuff, and I'm like, I'm not sure if this is true, but anyway, it says that in addition to the disfigurement, if someone who had the disease for an extended period of time would cause the gums to recede, which they say is why the fangs became a thing, because you can see their teeth more.
You watch anybody that's like suffering from some kind of chronic disease or like drug addiction and stuff, that's usually one of the things that's becomes a really obvious.
The gums retreat.
Just that their teeth get weird and either discolored or your gums get all funky looking.
And apparently the urine of someone with this disease is dark red. I don't know if that's true, but that's what this website said. It said because the urine is dark red, the folklore summarized that they were actually drinking blood. It's because they were peeing out blood. And it said some physicians recommended patients drink animal blood to compensate for the defect in their red blood cells.
I'm sure that turned out well.
Yeah.
no diseases or parasites going to come out of that.
And then these patients, and this is where I think it's just like they're using their rationale to justify linking this disease. They're like, well, since they were sensitive to the sun, they probably only went out at night. So that's why you associate vampirism with night creatures. The sulfur content in garlic would lead to an attack of porphyria, which would lead to pain, which is the aversion to garlic.
Yeah.
Reflections not seen in mirrors was because they had facial disfigurement. People didn't like to look in the mirror. I'm like, well, that's a lot of people nowadays. Just like, not everybody is loves to look in the mirror at themselves. They just like, I just prefer not to see. Okay, so that's where the not reflection not being seen in the mirror. And the fear of the crucifix was during the Spanish Inquisition, 1478 to 1834, around that time. 600 vampires were reportedly burned at the stake. And some of these accused vampires were people who had porphyria. And therefore, porphyria patients became very leery of religion in general. Okay, sure. I don't know how much of this is true. I think a lot of it is just extrapolation.
I was going to say how much that's added later, or how many things from our mythology for supernatural things and horror and all that stuff are just things that people came up with excuses to like burn people. Because
right,
that's witches, vampires.
Does she weigh as much as a duck?
She's a witch.
She's a witch. And I kind of went through what vampires are. in our current pop culture. And I pulled up a picture of a vampire bat, and they're kind of cute. I like them. Bats in general. I looked at a lot of pictures of bats while I was trying to find this one picture, and I was like, bats are ugly. It's their wings. Their wings are because they're flying about. That's what makes them creepy. But anyway, to defend against the vampire, you got garlic, wild rose, sprinkling mustard seeds on the roof of a house keeps them away. I never heard that before. Then you have the sacraments like crucifix, rosary, holy water, and again, that is the like the witch scare idea.
Yeah.
Let's see. Some say that believing a Jewish person can use the Star of David to ward off a vampire, so it's not the object itself; it's the faith of the person. Mirrors faced outward on a door, as in if they have no reflection, they're scared of the reflection. Okay. Also, mirrors back when vampirism was like an epidemic were made of silver, and silver is a defense against vampires. Can't walk on consecrated ground, churches or temples, or cross running water, which is one of those things that I kind of pointed to with midnight mass. I was like, well, I mean, could a vampire go to a Catholic mass? I don't know.
Oh, and the whole other part of that, though, I don't know if how much of that is tradition, is that they have to be invited in.
Yeah, that's another one. You can't enter a home unless invited.
So the one in midnight mass was invited in.
Yeah,
so.
And that's one of those things where, like we've discussed, well, what part of the vampire lore is optional? You know, what do you feel comfortable removing from the power sets or the weakness sets of vampires? Like our modern culture, and pretty much most of the ones we're going to talk about today, it's like they've removed the whole religious aspect with the crucifixes and the hallowed ground and stuff like that. But they cannot enter a house uninvited. That seems pretty ubiquitous even in modern vampirism.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I've seen very many vampire things that they don't work that in somehow.
Yeah, which out of all the weakness sets, I think that's one of the silliest ones. Like, what do you mean you can't? Oh, you can't walk into a house? You can't walk into a building? Come on.
Oh, it's kind of I won't do that today. Maybe it's another time. Sort of talking. I was kind of ranting a little bit about anime and stuff, and have some more thoughts about how you should decide for yourself what anime you can watch and stuff like that. And it really kind of applies to anything, whether it's horror or shoot 'em up movies or whatever, is like how much evil you let into your life and what you can tolerate and what actually affects you as a person. And I think that's because that's a traditional idea that if you're inviting evil in, that it can take over a household, it can take over a person. I think that's probably where that comes into the vampire story, is not so much like there's like this imaginary line that, oh, if you let me cross that, I'm gonna get you. It's more like you're inviting that evil being into your.
If I were developing a vampire story, I might take that idea that you're talking about and extend it and say, well, even for a vampire to bite you, you have to invite it. And that would make it so that the vampire actually has to seduce you.
Yeah.
Which I think that might be an interesting take.
Yeah.
I mean, still a predator, but you got to accept it.
Predator with permission.
With permission. That's not a good title.
That sounds like something that somebody from under the age of 30 would be. Yeah. I got a cool idea for a vampire.
Right. All right. So I this is one of the Nosferatu, the film that did you see the remake they made recently?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't know until I saw that film that the idea that vampires have an aversion to the sun didn't come about until that film.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
But that took place at least after Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, right?
Yeah, because the Nosferatu film was made because they couldn't get the film rights to Dracula.
Yeah.
So they just like, we'll make our own thing.
I remember it was like everything was like, they just changed like the names a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know the details of all that, instead of going to like Transylvania, we're going to like Pennsylvania or something.
Yeah,
It was like they literally just changed little facets of it like that. And
yeah. It's instead of Count Dracula, it's Count Orlok.
yeah, and then who's the attorney in the old one, or the accountant, or is that an attorney? I forget what the
Oh, and Dracula.
yeah
Let's see, the one that Keanu Reeves played.
yeah.
His name was Jonathan Harker, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jonathan Harker, and then they had Thomas Hutter. Yeah,
Okay.
they literally just change the names to get around copyright, I guess. I don't think that would work today as much as they copied. I don't think it would work today.
Yeah. No, that's completely like a Vanilla Ice on the Queen song.
Yeah, yeah.
Like mine doesn't go ding 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 ding. Mine goes to ding 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 ding. It's like that's
Right.
basically Nosferatu with Dracula.
So to kill a vampire, stake through the heart, decapitation,
Another interesting one too that did not come up at all in Midnight Mass.
the decapitation.
No, stake to
No,
the
stake
heart.
through the heart. Yeah,
Was
it was
they
pretty much only sunlight.
yeah, it was sunlight.
Yeah,
Because even they shot the angel slash demon, but whether or not that was even actually a vampire, or if that was just some other being, when you shot him, he was just sort of like looking at you like, "Get off me, dude!" And
that was a pretty good scene. They shot the vampire in the shoulder. He's like, rah, rah, I'm eating. Then shot him in the head, and he's just nothing.
I've always kind of wondered that. It's like, why is it okay? How does it work to stake one in the heart with like a piece of wood, but if you like put a 308 through the heart, it doesn't seem to kill them in movies. It's, unless it's like some kind of like blessed bullet, or has silver in it or something.
I've never heard this before, but I could very easily, if you're keeping the religious iconography and the like the religious superstitions in vampirism, just say it needs to be a stake that is made from the wood of the cross.
Yeah,
That's
or
that's an easy
or wood,
explainer there.
ordained wood from a church or
Yeah,
something.
blessed wood. Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. If
Let's
if you,
see.
if you had it just from the cross, then you'd have a very finite number of stakes that people would be fighting over. So you wouldn't have so many of them.
I don't know. The Catholic Church has come up with a lot of pieces over the years, or the different Catholic churches rather.
Yeah.
Let's see. In the Balkans, apparently, because that was one of the things is that I kind of looked at a bunch of different kinds of vampirism. You could repeat. You could repeat their funeral service, like lay them to rest again.
Hmm.
Thought that was interesting. Sprinkling of holy water, that's kind of normal, or an actual exorcism. In Babylonia and Assyria, Lilith, not Adam's first wife, this is a different like demon named Lilith, was a demon who drank the blood of babies. So that's one of the origins. A couple of other vampires from around the world. In West Africa, the Ashanti people tell of an iron tooth and tree dwelling vampire. I thought that was kind of interesting because the association with bats. Aztec mythology described tales of a skeletal faced spirit of those who died in childbirth, who stole children and entered into sexual liaisons with the living, driving them mad.
Mm.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yes.
These do have names. I'm not going to try to pronounce them.
I'll,
Yeah,
I do good to just even pronounce an actor's name. Start bringing in terms from other cultures. I'm like, yeah.
and this one I thought was just wild. In the Philippines, is a type of vampire that can detach its upper half. Okay, that's a weird power.
Might be the idea of where like they turn into a bat and fly around, is
Yeah,
that one just leaves its docking base, goes off, and then comes back or something.
and one of the earliest recordings of actual vampire activity, where people were saying there's a real vampire, was in Croatia in 1672. There was reports of a local vampire of a guy named Gier Grando. And let's see, He died in 1656, and the villagers claim that he returned from the dead and began drinking the blood of the people and sexually harassing his widow. So he just harassing his widow, not other women, just his widow. And the village leader, ordered a stake to be driven through his heart. And I'm assuming because this wasn't in the story I read. I'm assuming they drove a stake through the corpse. But then when this failed to kill him, he was beheaded, and that had better results. So there was someone in this village in 1656 who was harassing people, and he kept blaming it on a dead guy. And I found this interesting. Well, the term vampire and the idea of vampirism predates the discovery of vampire bats. Vampire bats were discovered in 1810. Interesting.
Yeah.
This is similar. I don't know if I ever told you this. Did you know the xenomorph in Alien with the prehensile, like the second jaw?
Yeah.
In 2007, 2007, we discovered that moray eels have a second jaw in their throat that they use. They'll catch something, and then that second jaw will like bite at it and pull the meat into their throat. How did we not know about that until 2007?
Because moray eels are freaky and scary.
Maybe. But that I really like this idea that like we come up with something and then it happens in nature. It's like, and we're not basing our imagination on that thing in nature. Because people asked H.R. Geiger, they're like, well, how did you come up with this idea for the second jaw? And mostly it was a sexual thing.
Yeah.
But like he wasn't basing off anything else. It was just like his own imagination.
I've always said it's like as bankrupt as seems as Hollywood is for ideas to do anything here in the last 5 to 10 years, is that you can make an infinite number of horror and sci-fi movies if you just took a few classes on insects and reptiles.
Yeah.
And things that live down in the lower parts of the ocean, that there's more terrifying crap out there that would make good horror movies that have been in nature for centuries. And you're just like, oh, that bug does what? Like, good Lord. It's like, so we'll just make a movie about that.
Well, the whole Last of Us concept came from an actual fungus.
Yeah, like the little fungus that takes over the ants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And climbs up the tree, and then the fungus sprouts out of its head and pollinates. Horrible.
Not how I want to go.
No. Yeah. Hopefully that never, not anything like that never jumps to humans.
The Carrie-Anne Moss movie that I talked about months and months ago with the zombie thing was kind of like that too. And I don't remember if that seems like that probably came out before Last of Us. I don't remember. But it was that same kind of idea that it was kind of more like a spore kind of thing.
That's kind of, and as vampirism has kind of changed culturally, that's kind of, zombies have kind of changed culturally as well. It first went from like back when Night of the Living Dead, around that time, it was, I think one of those movies had the tagline, when hell is full, the dead will walk the earth. So it was just this idea of like a curse. Then it became nuclear, like toxic waste, brought him back to life. That was like in the 80s. And then it became a virus.
Yeah.
And now we have it as being like more of a spore.
Die Alone. Die Alone was that movie I was talking about with Carrie-Anne. I think that was, I was in an appetizer shows ago.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah.
And let's see. The only other thing I didn't really talk about is how vampires are susceptible to being hurt by silver. And that's one of those things where sometimes you hear that, and sometimes it's more associated with,
of all the things that I've watched,
werewolves.
I don't really have anything that jumps out of my mind that was like a thing in the vampire movie. It seems like it's kind of more for the werewolf genre, but
yeah, it's definitely not like in Dracula and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's more werewolves. But speaking of vampires and werewolves, the first one we're going to look at is Underworld.
Have you done all of them?
All the Underworld films?
Yeah.
No, this is just more like discussing what vampires are in Underworld.
Have you watched them all though? Because they switched from Kate Beckinsale to Was it the Mara girl? Or I kind of stopped watching them when they switched.
I think they switched to a
What's her name?
one of the women that portrayed Lara Croft. I thought in Rise of the Lycans. No, that wasn't even Saloon, was it? Because Rise of the Lycans was a prequel. Rona Mitra.
Mitra, that's right.
Mitra.
I know it was something with an M.
Yeah, but she played Sonia, not Celine.
Yeah.
Celine has always been played by Kate Beckinsale in Underworld, Evolution, Awakening, and Blood Wars. I have seen all of them, yes.
I don't think I've made it up to if that was supposed to be a prequel or whatever.
Yes, Rise of the Lycans took place in the past.
Yeah. Kind of one of those things that seemed like a really cool idea when the movie came out, and one that I never really got into. And I don't know if it's because how they handled the werewolf stuff wasn't what I was looking for. I guess maybe I'm pretty particular on my werewolf stories. I don't have a specific problem that I had with it. It was just, I don't know. I never, whatever was missing on that one, it never sold me. But
well, the werewolves were treated kind of like fodder for the vampires.
Yeah.
And you could argue if the vampires had like plot armor, like when they fought the vampires, they weren't as powerful as they were presented. Like they'd show them be really powerful, and then they wouldn't be able to defeat the vampires in ways that would seem like they would be able to kill them and hurt them easily.
Yeah.
But there were the Underworld films was Underworld, Underworld Evolution, Rise of the Lycans, Underworld Awakening, and Underworld Blood Wars. And Saloon was played by Kate Beckinsale, and the character was loosely based off of a Marvel comic character called Saloon Gallo. She's a part of a vampire Saloon in the Underworld. She's a part of the hitman organization called the Death Dealers. They kill Lycans.
Okay.
And I really think that Underworld, well, one, it was very clearly influenced by The Matrix.
I was going to say, I was looking at the time frame. It came out in 2003. Matrix was 99. So the sequels for The Matrix were coming out during the same time frame. And that might be another thing. It seemed like they was just trying to do Matrix type movies, but with werewolves and vampires to me. And lots of factors into that one. While that just didn't really never hit home for me.
Pretty much any, it seemed like pretty much any property that came out, like sci-fi type property that came out between 2000 and 2005 was trying to ape off the Matrix in some way.
I think it's also seeing all the Mila Djokovic Resident Evil things that were all being made by her husband, and this was like another series that was like made by her husband by Kate Beckinsale, I think. And it was like, is everybody just going to make us all these movie series so they can split their wives in movies?
Well, I really don't know this. I know the Mila Jovovich met her husband through the Resident Evil series.
Oh, okay.
Was it the same with Kate Beckinsale? And because I didn't know that her husband was a director of this.
I thought that was. Am I not remembering that right?
Let's see. The director. Who was the director of Underworld?
Len Wiseman. He's a director, screenwriter, producer, and underneath it is all the Evolution movies, all the Underworld movies, I guess so.
Okay. So Len Wiseman. Married
in
Kate Beckinsale, 2004 to 20.
So
it was before. It was before it was after the first film.
Yeah.
And to 2019. Okay.
Marry me and I'll make you a sequel.
Yeah. Well, again, hey, I hate the don't hate the player, hate the game, right?
Yeah, I guess it's good to be a producer.
Yeah, good on them. But these vampires, they have superhuman agility, strength, healing, speed, durability, senses, and speed. I already said speed, and that's kind of all vampires. That's a part of vampire lore.
Yeah,
it's just they can do everything a human can, but better. Specifically, at one point, the character Celine could like absorb the memories of other vampires. Like if she drank their blood, she could like see their memories. She becomes half human, half vampire at one point and gains immunity to UV light. For you, just so she can walk in the sun. And like Blade is one too that can walk in the sun because he's half human. So how like is that? I guess if they explain it as being half human, half vampire, it can justify that. Like a full vampire should always be damaged by the sun.
Yeah, yeah, that kind of gets into, maybe that's why I never got into those kind of movies.
You think they take a little bit too much liberty with the lore?
Just, we're gonna make it this way so we can just change it and make it into our little action movie.
Mm-hmm.
And if the whole idea is that you see the sun and you just burst into flames, it seems like if half of you is part of that would still burst into flames, that still wouldn't be really positive for you to go sunbathe.
It only hurts me a lot. It doesn't kill me.
Yeah.
They were killed. They did show vampires being killed by just being mauled by lichens.
Yeah.
So I don't know if in world that was like, well, they're magical creatures or whatever. They're also supernatural, so they can hurt you. I don't know if that was a part of it.
Was it all the way through that series too, or did that come in later, where they started having like ultraviolet bullets or something?
That was from the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I've seen the first one a couple of times. I think I've seen parts of the sequels multiple times, but they really are like back when we had cable, they'd be on and you just stop on it when you're channel surfing and let it be on while you're doing other things. I've really never just sat down and really absorbed those movies.
Let's see. The other thing I didn't remember this, but when I was looking at the origins of the vampires in the Underworld, vampirism and lycanthropy both came from the same lineage. There was a man who became the first immortal, and he had some sort of like genetic disease. His sons both got this genetic disease. One was bit by a vampire, one was bit by a wolf. And that's where vampires and werewolves came from. I'm like, that's fun. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me think of Spider-Man, but yeah. I do think I think Underworld is probably one of the properties that really colors the cultural concept of vampires today, because pretty much the look of the characters on Underworld in their like Matrix outfits, that is, and the way the vampires are, like, you have covens. That's always been something with vampires, but them being again the more aristocratic and lackadaisical, like just laid back. Yeah. Like they're not really out to accomplish anything. They're just enjoying their undead life.
Yeah. I think I remember through those movies too, talking about kind of being the aristocratic thing. They've always, I don't know which movie kind of would have been the one that set that up. That would have been
Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, where they always
that was a good one.
They always have those
the frilly collars,
frilly collars and things buttoned up to their necks and all that stuff. Which again,
pirate shirts,
protecting your neck, I guess, might have been important in the story. Maybe that was a reason for that. But
one of the other things that happened in this vampire film was if vampires could procreate, and that was a big thing with the later films where it was like, well, this lichen and this vampire had a baby, so it's half of each, and two vampires can reproduce a pure vampire, and so there's I like that extrapolation, but if you're going with the idea that they're undead, that's kind of where one of the things the Underworld kind of just waved off. Yeah. It's like, well, they're just infected, because they still had all their biological functions.
People need to work on that in Hollywood. That was the thing we talked about with the 28 years later. They try to work in like a childbirth in that story and seemed like they had no idea how to do it. And it's like, I came up with how you could do it like in minutes of thinking about it. And kind of seems like that's the same way. It's like, it's fine to work that into the lore. Just think it out a little bit before or you just throw it in there.
All right, let's see. I enjoy the Underworld movies, but you mentioned the Resident Evil films, and I definitely put those two right along beside each other. It's like they're fun, they're bombastic, but they don't have a whole lot of depth to them, but they're fun.
when you look at your movie shelf and you got like the Matrix stuff and then your Resident Evil movies and then those there, that's pretty much the order that I would watch them in. It'd be like,
Yeah.
I've watched the Matrix stuff 20 times this year. Maybe I should watch something else. I'll, I'll try one of the Underworld movies again, but not a. I mean, it's one of those things too. It's almost like the Resident Evil movies where they kept making them, so obviously they're making money
Mm-hmm.
on them. I guess they have a fan base, or they just come out at a time where there's nothing else to do, so people go watch them or something. I don't know.
All right, and I think probably the '80s kids would know the film you like to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, this is Lost Boys came out in 1987, so probably end of middle school, going into high school. One of those things that hit my generation like perfect because it wasn't like a slasher movie. It was a kind of horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Had enough adult stuff in it to make it cool to younger kids, but it wasn't something that you couldn't just go see. Um, in terms of like success, I don't didn't compare everything else, but it has to be one of the most successful vampire movies in my lifetime at least because it was $8.5 million budget for that one, and it grossed 32.2 million.
Nice.
That's pretty massive,
Yeah.
um, for a movie back then. And um, I mean, great day. The cast of this thing is it almost seems ridiculous if you go back and look at how many people were in this thing. You had both of the Coreys, the Haim and the Feldman. You had Keith Sutherland, Jason Patrick, Jamie Gertz, Alex Winter, the other guy from Bill and Ted. Um,
You have a lot of movies from back then that are like that.
yeah,
Like you watch it and you're just like, I know all these people.
Diane Weist. I guess Weist is how she says that. The mom.
Probably.
Some of these people were like the kind of the first times I'd seen them, like the Edward Herman guy, the guy that plays Max, the lead vampire. And I love the. I'm sure he's long passed away. Bernard Hughes, the guy that played the grandpa. That's probably what endears me to that movie so much as I loved. I love the grandpa character in that movie. Um, it was just that perfect mix of kind of cool late '80s pop culture stuff. You had a lot of Doors songs. You had a lot of popular music in it mixed in with it. Um, it, you talk about movies that kind of hit at the right time. That's definitely has to be in the top 100 of ones that were the right movie at the right time, kind of thing.
If you were making a movie, a collection of films that were like these are the quintessential '80s films.
Oh, yeah.
I would absolutely put this in there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting side note. Because again, I didn't see very many things in the theater at that time because most theater viewings of movies back in the 80s and 90s, if it wasn't something the whole family went to, you just didn't go. Um, so I didn't really get to. I started driving, I guess, around '92. That was probably when I started hitting the theater all the time and going to see everything I could get to. So this was before that. But one of the things that happened back then is I didn't see some of these movies until they came out in video stores and stuff. So I didn't always see them as they came out. I don't know exactly when I saw this, but I was a big fan of wrestling, and that kind of led me into American Gladiators at the same time.
I loved American
I
Gladiators.
love watching that stuff. And there was this dude named Billy Worth, this long-haired dude that came through American Gladiators one of the first times. I think I might have been one of the first seasons of it, or may have been the first season. He's like the one vampire that has long hair that really doesn't. He doesn't have very many lines in the movie. I think it's pretty much like, you're gonna die. He came through that, but that was after this movie. I always thought it was before. I think they talked about him being a stuntman and trying to be an actor in Hollywood. So I guess maybe technically in '89 he was still trying to be an actor. He wasn't getting into too many things, but he made it through to the semifinals of that, and it was kind of funny as that he did kind of have that, come at me attitude that a lot of those other people on the show didn't have. So basically, by the time they get to the semifinals, everybody was like double and triple teaming up on him on any of those events. It was like they were just out to get him, and they were gang tackling him and throwing him into walls and stuff. And it made me so mad when I was a kid watching. I was like, man, it's like, y'all are cheating. The other guy's getting like a free run to the bucket that you go put the ball in, and they're just over there pounding him in the corner. I was like, wow.
It looks like he's been busy.
He
He's
does a
maintained work, but it's
lot of stuff, but it's if you go through that list, there's very few there that you'll know.
it's not he didn't play in this film, but it's like the Transformers kind of film.
Yeah,
Like the direct to now it would be direct to streaming, not direct to video.
I think if he was in any other movies you heard of, it would be like he was a guy in a bar, like at that in one of those movies, kind of thing. The rest of them were all
I love the
cable.
titles of some of these: Seven Mummies, Eternal Code, Space Marines, Final Mission. Yeah.
I think he tried for a while to do like I'm gonna do Native American Indian movies,
Hmm.
but he's from New York. I think his mom, he's like Russian and something else,
Oh,
but like his mom has a little bit of Indian in her, and I guess some of those traits carried over to him, and he looked
well, he's
he
swarthy.
he thought that he could portray himself as that,
Hmm.
and he played in a lot of movies like that. But
The
um,
the vampires and the Lost Boys were a lot more punk. They didn't like
yeah,
it was influenced by punk culture of the 80s.
yeah, riding their motorcycles, but yeah, kind of more like dirt bike stuff. So it
Yeah.
was really kind of appealing to like those young teenage guys, the leather jackets and long hair, motorbike little motorbike gang. Um,
I would say it's probably a little more if vampires did exist, it would probably be more like that than the aristocrats and mansions and stuff like that.
I always loved going back to the grandpa. I think that's just what the character's name was the grandpa
Grandpa.
Bernard Hughes. Like at the end of the movie, after he finally like kills Max and gets cuts the bloodlines, they all turn back. He's like, that's the one thing I could never stand about. Is it Santa Clara? Santa? Is that the city they're in?
It's been forever since I've seen it.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
Santa Clara, something like that. It's like, the one thing I can never stand about Santa Clara is all the damn vampires. And just is like getting something out of the fridge and goes on about his day. I was like, I love that dude. Such a great character.
This might be jinxing it, but I'm so glad they've left that alone.
Oh, that's we won't make it to the grave before somebody tries to redo it.
Remake it
They've
or make a
really
sequel.
they've just about exhausted everything else. They just probably haven't remembered this one yet.
Wonder how many scripts have come across Kiefer Sutherland's desk. Lost Boys 2.
Yeah, or yeah, y'all come back and make a cameo in this movie.
Yeah.
We're gonna destroy it and make it modern.
But they were the vampires in the Lost Boys seem to have all the classic, no sun, no garlic.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
Stake to the heart.
they had water guns that they dipped in holy
Holy
water
water, yeah.
and garlic and stuff. So they really were kind of paying tribute to all of the lore. And come back to I think we mentioned it in Midnight Mass. It really was one of the only two movies I can really ever think of that had that view from like a vampire flying up above.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really see in Midnight Mass the beast there ever coming down and attacking somebody from that view. In this one, most of the attacks early in the movie were from that view. You saw like somebody running away, and you're kind of zooming in with them, and that was really. I always thought that was pretty innovative. That was good filmmaking.
I would love to know if that was in any way inspired by Evil Dead, the Sam Raimi.
Oh my, yeah. The Sam Raimi running through the woods
on it with a camera on a board.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's Lost Boys. I think if you haven't seen that at this point,
oh yeah,
you're neglecting your movie database. It's
I would say the Lost Boys, when considering vampires as a genre, is one of the more faithful, and like I've complained essentially, is how a lot of vampire stories will take away or add stuff to vampires, and this one's just like, no, these are the vampires, these are the rules. And I do appreciate that. It kind of feels evergreen.
Yeah, and you've got that list of movies. We could probably do a topic or something on that one time of like just the most rewatchable movies. You can throw this thing in anytime. You can pick it up at any point in it, especially after you've seen it, and just jump in and enjoy watching. If it's just a middle 30 minutes of it, or catching it at the end, or whatever. It's just don't make movies like that anymore. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It was wasn't anything groundbreaking or really super thought provoking. It was just a fun movie that it never drags. There's never a spot where you're like, will you get on with it? It's just.
We've mentioned this before, how I think a lot of the issues with that people have with modern films is they don't seem to respect the source material. There's too much wanting to put their own spin on it, wanting to put their own perspective into it. They don't just make the thing as the thing. And The Lost Boys, it's just like I said, they took the vampires and they said, okay, this is what vampires are. Let's make a film about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
One scene that I remember from when I saw it when I was a kid was when the Corey Feldman's character grinds up a bunch of garlic and puts it in like a Parmesan container to try to test to see if the mom's boyfriend is a vampire. And that pile of garlic made me try garlic, and I loved it.
Oh yeah, because he puts it like on their spaghetti or
Yeah,
something.
he thinks it's Parmesan. And he like puts it on
takes a bite
spaghetti.
and he
It's
almost,
like
he almost chokes on it, and they're like,
ah, you're a vampire. He's like, that's just with too much garlic.
It's like, I love garlic, but good lord,
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to choke me.
And as I remember the last time I saw this years ago, but last time I saw that scene again, and I was just like, no, that's perfect. That's the perfect amount of garlic.
And 1987 was, again, I don't remember if I saw it that year, but either way, I was 13, 14, somewhere in that range, probably when I first saw this thing. I'd love to go back and try to remember, and my memory is not that strong. If the reveal when he found out Max is the vampire, if I did not know that until it happened, it seems like the first time they did get me on that, it's like, oh my gosh, it's the nice dude from the store.
He's the vampire.
I'd probably pick up on that in a heartbeat today, watching a new movie. But I think in my early teens, I think that one did get me. And it was like, oh, that's twisty. It's so twisty.
I think the first time I saw The Lost Boys was from like one of those tapes that someone recorded off the TV, and it had like multiple films on it. One of those.
We had a version from our old little Videovision store here in Delville when they put extra copies up for sale. You go in there and buy it for like $5. So we had a real copy of it with still a Videovision sticker that wouldn't come off, because
Nice.
those things were like,
yeah, it was like one of those silver ones,
non-removable things that were attached with D&H adhesive or whatever those things were. You can never get those off.
Well, kind of talking about changing vampirism, Hellsing. This is just one of my favorite portrayals of Dracula, just because of how outrageous it is.
Are you referring to Hellsing in the first series, or that like
I have not seen
Ultimate?
I have not seen Hellsing Ultimate.
Oh, you have not seen? Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, Hellsing Ultimate is crazy, but
I'd like to see it.
I've seen them both. I think I've got them both over there on the drawer or on the shelf over there with DVDs.
I might borrow the Ultimate from you.
Yeah.
But the character in Hellsing is supposed to be Count Dracula. They call him Alucard. Yeah. He is sworn to the Hellsing family because he was defeated by Van Helsing back in like the 1700s. And he has this thing where he's so powerful, he just wants like a good fight. And he's sworn to the family because Hellsing as a man bested him, but he still wasn't like trying his hardest. So it's more like he's with them out of respect. It's weird.
Yeah.
His power set is off the charts. He's said to be an actual real vampire. He is not affected by the sun. He can take any forms he wishes. He can just transform into anything. Bat swarms, a black void, a mist. There's one scene where he's feeding on someone and he has multiple appendages. He like just generates new arms. His clothes are a part of his regeneration, so like his clothes are actually his body.
Yeah.
Okay. He has all the superhuman speed and reflexes and everything, endurance. He can go into a sort of hibernation if he goes without blood too long, and that's kind of a standard vampire thing. They had that in Underworld, which is what I thought was one of the cooler parts of Underworld, how they had like the vampire lords stored away.
Who is the girl with the big gun?
The character?
Yes.
She is Hellsing.
Is she Integra?
No, Saris Victoria.
Oh, okay.
That's who you're talking about? This character?
Yes.
Yeah, Saris Victoria.
That's basically, then she go down and he's in the basement.
Yeah.
In the cellar. Yeah. Because he's just been down there hanging out because he hasn't fed
in forever, and he bites her.
Yeah. What is I was trying to find a picture of it. I'm not
The
sure if I.
guns,
What is on the gun? He has the gun that has like an inscription on it.
you look that up. I'll keep listing off his powers.
Yeah,
'Cause that's one thing I didn't talk about were his guns, but that is a part of the
it's like a
character.
iconic part of that whole.
Yeah,
Um,
I was more focused on like his vampire abilities.
yeah,
He has hemokinesis. There you go, hemokinesis. He can manipulate blood that's outside of bodies. Kind of made me think of that show Gen V. Have you watched any of that?
no,
Okay.
no, I don't think
Have
so.
you watched any of The Boys? I thought you watched some of it.
I watched The Boys up until the skating thing, and I was
Yeah,
just
you're like,
like,
eh. Okay.
that's enough of that.
In the offshoot series Gen V, the main character has hemokinesis. She can manipulate blood, but she can like draw blood out of people too. So she can manipulate the blood in there. She's a blood bender.
Yeah,
But Hellsing Alucard can only manipulate blood that's outside of a body. He has this thing called the third eye, and it lets him do like remote viewing, and also he can like detect other supernatural beings. He can teleport, which is one of those things where if you really looked at some of the vampire lore, like Dracula and stuff like that, he could probably teleport too, but it wasn't explicitly stated. Just because he seemed to go from place to place without traveling. Um, like I said, other vampire films as well. They seem to give them that kind of power without really giving it to them. Telekinesis, hypnosis. Hypnosis is definitely one you see in other vampire films. Same with flight and levitation because of the bats.
yeah.
At one point, he manipulates the weather. Okay, he can just do anything. It's one of the, and that is one of the things I do enjoy about manga and anime. Like my favorite manga manhwa, a priest, the 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 Ivan Isaac sold half of his soul to a demon, and when he lets that demon take over, he can do anything. The power set's pretty much unlimited, whatever is needed. Also, when Alucard drinks someone's blood, he takes control of their soul, and he uses those souls as like a shield. So, like if he takes damage, like the soul will take the damage instead of him.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways, one of his few weaknesses is if he takes too much damage and he has 0 souls left, he can die. He can get a fatal blow to the heart if he has no other souls. Holy weapons and silver do affect him. They hurt him more than like regular weapons, but he regenerates so quickly it doesn't really matter. It's just he gets more damage from them. Can't cross running water. I don't remember that from the anime.
It's been
But
a while since I watched it. I'm trying to separate the two, the ultimate in that,
right.
and I think there's the same characters. I don't think they even follow the same plot line. It's really hard to kind of separate the two. And I'm sitting there trying to think through the imagery of those two, but I don't remember honestly where the show goes. I know where the movie or the Ultimate series goes, but like I said, that
Yeah, maybe
one's
I should watch Hellsing again before I watch Hellsing Ultimate. One thing I didn't really, when I was looking at what people were saying about his power set and stuff, one thing I didn't really come across that I kind of got the impression of was his gloves with the runes on them always seemed to be like holding him back. Like was that a part of it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's I remember getting that impression when I watched it before, where like the because he was always talking about his true power and not going all out and stuff like that, and I always felt like those runes on his hands
It's
were doing something to him.
it's always interesting though. If you talk about all the different ways he could use the different powers and stuff, that they still gave him guns.
Right. That is one of the reasons when I was writing all this up, I was like, well, and he had guns. Why did he even? Why does he even have guns? It doesn't make any sense.
They were supposed to be so. Like this one thing says they were silver,
Okay.
exploding silver rounds melted from the silver cross from the Lancaster Cathedral.
Okay.
But
That would be very limited in how many rounds he has
Yeah,
if
I
it's
think I
melted
remember.
from one
I
cross.
think I remember him shooting a lot more than than that. But the thing I found kind of hard to, surprisingly hard to find what that actually says. That the little phrase on them says that Jesus Christ is in heaven now is engraved on the gun.
Okay.
So I'm sure that's wouldn't be the anime to try to show somebody that is trying to tell you that anime is demonic, and you're like, oh no, it's not. Watch this one. I think that might spoil your argument there.
I never really, you talked about the guns. I never really made this association before, and it's such an obvious one. There's a video game called Devil May Cry.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean Dante's essentially his power set and stuff is essentially
yeah.
Alucard here.
If you haven't seen, excuse me, if you haven't seen the Hellsing thing, the guns we're talking about, it's like a 45. It's like kind of looks like a traditional like 911 style 45, but they're like
They're
this.
long.
They're like almost 2 feet long, just ridiculously oversized.
I mean, anime oversized weapons is like just a staple.
Yeah, I mean, you've got guys carrying swords around in some anime things that 3 people couldn't pick up, but they're just like, well, this 150-pound guy's gonna wield this like it's a katana.
There was speaking about Christian iconography in Trigun. That one guy carries around the cross case. That's just a case of guns. It's just
I see that
that fan service is fun.
I need to watch that at some point because I see that at so many shows where there's somebody that always comes with that, and like whatever possesses them to think that's a good idea to walk around a crowded show floor
with a big cross,
the 6-foot cross they have to carry on their back.
Well,
it's kind of like the people that do the wings for the different animes that have wings, and they come to your booth and they're going to turn around and talk to somebody, and you're sitting there like trying to keep everything from your table from getting blown over by their.
Well, cosplay in general is a look at me kind of kind of situation. I'm dressing up so that other people will notice what I'm doing, and if you can have huge wings or a giant cross, they'll look at you. Like those people that have like little R2D2s that they're controlling.
Yeah.
Let's see. They.
I almost want to say, and I don't remember if it's in the movie or if it's in the series, or I guess they're both series, but the Hellsing Ultimate or the regular one.
Right.
It seemed like the rounds had Roman numerals or some kind of other symbol on the rounds themselves.
I don't recall. I wouldn't be surprised if there were like runes or whatever.
Yeah, it seemed like there was something like that, but again, I'm even just trying to look that up. I'm bringing up more stuff from the Ultimate than I am than the other. Like I said, it's been quite a while since I've watched either.
I see you have over on your shelf. You have Blood the Last Vampire.
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
I haven't either. I bought it. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
Well, maybe. It's one of those things I've been like, I bought it and I was going to watch it, and then we got into something else, and it's been sitting there.
Yeah. That's me in most media. It's like, I got it. It's on my shelf. Yeah. I'll watch it or play it someday.
I'll get to it.
I'll get to it. No, the guy who has to deal with my house after I die might get to it.
Yeah. You'll find a lot of unopened, still sealed prizes.
Yep. And let's see. The manga was in magazines from 1997 to 2008. It has 89 chapters total. There was a prequel series, Hellsing: The Dawn, in 2002 to 2006. That's incomplete. They never finished it, which again seems to kind of be a staple of the genre or the medium.
Was the butler in that one? Was that Walter?
In the original?
Yes. Because there was that guy that had like, it was like a
Walter C. Yeah.
He had like a like some kind of string that he would just get out, and like a couple times where he kind of broke bad on people, he was just slicing people up with like this thing that was like this like really thin wire, almost like a piano wire, but that was like his weapon. I don't remember.
He made the weapons that were used by Alucard and Saris. Yeah. So he's like a
lot of cool
stuff. He was
stuff.
Like the Q of Hellsing.
Kind of one of the things I was talking about with like Japanese stuff, the way they like to throw some Christian iconography kind of stuff into something without really even thinking about whether or not this is blasphemous or
the implications.
Just it'd be cool if we wrote that on the gun. Yeah, I think that's probably the extent of it in some of those creators, because it's not a cultural taboo thing for them to do that.
Well, even if like, I mean, even if as a Christian, if you wanted to uh, make commentary on Jesus is in heaven now as a phrase in general, you could, you, well, it's that's a misunderstanding of. You could get into it,
Yeah.
but that's one of the things I enjoy about it because I don't see that as being that addition. I don't think it was done out of disrespect.
Yeah, I don't think they're putting any second
No,
thought into it at all.
no, it's just they're
It'd
like,
be
hey,
like,
this is cool.
let's give him a cool sword. It's like, what do you want? How you want to design a sword? It's like, write something about Jesus on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd be like, okay.
And you don't really see that much anymore going the opposite direction because we're really in the West, we're really concerned about cultural sensitivity.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking specifically of like Ghosts of Tsushima and Ghosts of Yotai, the games that were made by Sucker Punch, which is an American company, but they're set in Japan. And one of the things they were really concerned about, like being respectful of the actual history and the culture and stuff like that. It wasn't just, hey, ninjas are cool.
And that's the same game that like made a woman samurai.
I have no idea the context of the characters. The first game had a male character, and the second game takes place like a few hundred years later, and the main character, is a female, and that is a reason that people are upset about it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a video game.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're either gonna respect the culture or you're not, and
there's this one video game I'm watching the development of, and the developer is just he's if you could call a video game developer a magician, he's a magician. He's fantastic at his craft. And the main character, it takes place in like the late 1800s, and it's a female sheriff. And I've watched like him post stuff online, and then people respond to him and be like, this doesn't make sense. There were no female sheriffs in 1870. Oh, it's a video game, man.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you just do something because it's cool. Let's see. The Hellsing Ultimate was 10 episodes. And apparently, Amazon is in the works in some way of making a live action film. Personally, I say don't. Leave it alone.
There's no way they can make anything that would respect the material.
No.
In that, because so much of it would be taboo. There's Nazis, and it's so violent. It's yeah, no. There's people in hoods and all kinds of stuff in that.
I would love to collate all the media that is like vampires fighting Nazis, because you got Hellsing. The only other one I can think of, and literally might just be these two, but there's a video game series, and I'm blanking on it. Oh man, I'm trying to think of word. Blood Rain. Jeez, the character's name is Blood Rain.
Yeah.
And that's who you're fighting in the video game is Nazis.
Yeah. It may just be that's what we do, and we don't have any other way to go.
Hey, it's a real easy villain.
Yep. Yep.
Everybody can agree. Kill those guys. Have fun. All right. Speaking of killing, let the right one in.
Let the right one in. 2008 Swedish movie.
I saw this once around that time.
Yes.
It was a great film.
I think we talked about maybe in appetizers or something sometime previous to Midnight Mass. We were talking about Vanilla Sky and remaking things in English. They did remake this in 2010, just called Let Me In. Pretty quick follow-up to the 2000, because just a couple years after. I think it's because it was so well received. It made like $12 million against $4 million for a film studio in Sweden. Excuse me a second.
Now, I haven't seen, you said Let Me In. I haven't seen that. I don't think I was even aware of it.
It's a shot-for-shot remake in English. The English one is Chloe Grace Moretz. Is that how you say it?
Okay.
Cody Smith McPhee. The guy's been in like X-Men movies and all that stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware this existed.
And Richard Jenkins, who is probably one of the most underrated actors ever.
Have you seen both?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just looking at a still of Chloe in the film. How was it? She's the still I'm looking at seems like she overacted a bit.
Um, yeah, I mean, she was still young
Yeah,
during this
I
thing,
mean that
but
was around Kick Ass, right?
was it before? Seemed like it was before.
Oh, let me in.
Let me see. I did not go back and compare. Like I said, Let Me In was 2010.
2010, and Kick Ass was
She seemed like she was young.
2010, so same time.
Same time.
Yeah.
Okay. You recognize this guy, Richard Jenkins?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in so many. He's like in Cabin in the Woods. And
he's one of those. Hey, I know that guy's.
he's so funny in everything that he's in. But he actually plays the whole idea is that she's a vampire. She'll find like a young boy because
Mhm.
she's kind of trapped in, I don't know, 12 to 14 ish age range. I forget. They probably say,
That's good. Not aging.
but she's kind of stuck in that spot. So she'll find somebody that age to kind of take care of her, and then says they'll eventually fall in love. And then of course that person grows old, and then she has to find somebody else. And Richard Jenkins is playing sort of the guy from before, when she depends on which one you're talking about. Same idea. It's easier to talk about the Let Me In version instead of the Let the Right One In, because the
Right.
names of everybody in the Swedish version are like Oscar and Hakan and Swedish things with lots of K's. But the Cody Smith McPhee, let me find something else that he's. Then he play Nightcrawler and the X-Men stuff.
Oh, in the newer X-Men, like
I
the
think in
reboot.
the newer ones, yeah.
He's in a movie called Alpha.
Yeah, the thing about the like training the first wolf
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Yeah, he's a little kid. I mean, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that, in this one too. The really, it's kind of has the pacing of like a Midnight Mass, where you sort of have a lot of conversation and interaction between the two as they sort of meet each other and sort of develop their relationship. And then when it'll kick off into something violent, it goes full on. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a there's a scene with one of the people that she attacks. That's just like, it's kind of weird. The first one is in Sweden. The second one is in New Mexico, which is a pretty different environment. And but they both take place in sort of like in a sort of lower rent apartment type setting. And one of the people she attacks in the movie, you kind of come back to them. They're in the hospital recovering, and it's the same thing. The nurse comes in and like opens the window in the morning, and the person that was bitten burst into flames in the whole room. Like it burns the nurse up, it burns the room up, causes like this huge fire and stuff. So definitely kind of comes back into that whole Mass sort of version of when vampires hit the sun, they just
I,
explode.
and I like that. I like that. It's to be really violent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be like the oh no, I'm fading is
Yeah.
kind of the wimpy way to do it. If I like the idea of it, like if you don't get into the shade, you hit the sun, that you're just you're gonna cause a.
I don't know the physics of UV light. It is interesting to me that a vampire being in direct light can explode, but they're just like in the shade
Yeah.
and they're fine.
I, the other one in imagery and movies and stuff that I really like is the in the Tom Cruise movie. What's that one again?
Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the
Mm-hmm.
Vampire, where Kirsten Dunst and she's with somebody, right? Or she's
Antonio.
with her mom or with another lady.
Yeah.
And they're down there like in this little like well, basically,
Yeah,
with
and
a, and
then
you're
they
sitting there watching the sun kind of move across, and when they go, they burn up, and they kind of stay like in their
yeah.
shape, and then they come in and touch them, and they collapse in the ash. That's pretty powerful too. But I'm definitely more of a let's explode them
Yeah.
thing. But
Again, it's what are you going for thematically? Yeah.
but they put more money into the remake. They Let Me In. They $20 million budget versus the $4.5 million from the Swedish film.
Mm.
It still made money, 27 million. Probably not a huge hit, because that's probably not clearing all of your advertising and stuff by a lot. But um, both good versions of it. and it's not a PG-13 version of a vampire movie. It could be. Like I said, when they do go violent, it goes pretty violent, but it's a pretty cool sort of younger love story mixed in with it too. It's and both ideas. The boy that she befriends is it's kind of a weaker kid that's alone that's getting bullied, and that definitely plays into the if you like a bully revenge on the bullies storyline in movies. There's really good ones in both of these. There's a do you mind if I spoil it for you if you haven't seen it?
I've seen Let the Right One In.
Oh, you've seen it.
That's the only one I've seen of.
I think they actually do it better in the Let the Right One In,
Mhm.
when the vampire comes for the kids that are trying to drown him in the pool.
Yeah.
And you just see in the background, you see like these little legs just going around, just being drugged back and forth, like the vampire's flying around and they're still like half in, half out of the pool, and you just see like these little legs going back and forth. That's a perfectly shot series. It's not over the top. It's one of those things you just sort of see it in the background at first. And you're like, oof. I was like, he's coming to get him, or she's coming to get him. Yeah, if you haven't seen the Chloe, I don't even know if I ever say her name
Chloe
right.
Grace Moretz.
Moretz.
I don't know, probably not.
Interesting too that like, she did Kick Ass. She did this.
She did Carrie.
Did the Carrie movie? It was.
I haven't seen
it. It's not great.
I was never really a fan of just the story of Carrie.
I kind of thought she would
Doesn't speak to me.
She would turn into more of a thing, and it seemed like whatever attempts they made, they didn't land. Like you don't really see her much anymore. She did some more like kind of drama things. I know about some. She did a movie about a girl that was like dying, or maybe like a boy and a girl that both had like a terminal illness kind of thing. I don't watch movies like that very often because I'm not really big into sitting down to spend 2 hours having my soul crushed by some horribly sad story.
Sometimes you need that.
Every once in a while. But I always kind of thought she would be more of somebody that you would still see in a lot of film at this point.
Well, she's looks like she's stayed busy, but she looks like she's doing some voice work.
Also seems like she's been around for a long time, but she's only 28.
She's 28, yeah. When she started when she was real young. And she didn't really, even though she was a child actor, she didn't really get saddled with all the baggage that seems to usually come with being a child actor. Like Haley Joel Osment.
It's like she was married this year to Kate Harrison, so that's a shame.
That's news to me.
That might be some of the baggage of being a child actor.
Maybe. But let's see. This year there's a mini series, My Mom's Murder. In 2022 there was another mini series. She did a couple of voice works. So yeah, looks like she's just plotting along.
It's really the last thing I saw her in, I think, was that first Equalizer movie where she plays the prostitute that he helps out. And so, have you watched the Equalizer movies?
Who is that Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Those are
good films.
Kind of John Wick
Okay.
ish movies, maybe not quite as full on, just to shoot 'em ups, but again, really good action. He's awesome in those.
Yeah, he's pretty much awesome in anything he plays.
I think that's the last real thing I think I've seen her in, or the most recent thing I've seen her in.
Are the vampires in Let the Right One In? Do they have any weird abilities?
No,
they seem pretty standard.
Yeah, like the image. Did you see? Like, isn't that the image on the thing? She got blood coming out of her head.
Yeah, out of her head.
Or is that in Let Me In?
Let's see.
That's a really powerful part of that movie too. Is like she hasn't been invited in, but she's coming to the boys' room. I guess the boy knows that she's a vampire at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is kind of scared to let her in, and she's like, "I'm just going to come in anyway." And she like crosses the boundary into his apartment and just starts bleeding.
Oh, that's right.
Scalp.
Yeah, that was in Let the Right One In.
He has to. I think they do that in both of those, but that was cool.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a cool way to show.
That's cool. Respect to that idea of
Yeah.
having to be allowed in. You know, I can come in, but if I do, I'm just gonna melt.
Yeah.
But
Did you know there was a TV series
no,
that was in 2022?
yeah,
Okay.
they tried that with like Carrie to be like, this is the story of after Carrie leaves this town, what would happen, and it's just like, there's just that's not material. I don't think that's gonna last. It's
Kind of calling back to what I was saying about the Lost Boys. It's like if that was made in the early 2000s, then we'd probably have sequels and TV shows and whatnot now. And
well, there was this Lost Boys sequel.
there was a Lost Boys sequel.
Yeah,
What? Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't know that.
I think it's one of those things that was sort of like a straight to DVD kind of thing, and it was like I heard people say it was like, oh man, that's awful. I've never watched it. Probably should be one of those things you should just watch just to probably laugh at, if nothing else.
The Tribe. There was a third one. The Lost Boys, The Tribe was in 2008, and The Lost Boys, The Thirst in 2010.
Apparently, the CW has been busy,
Yeah,
or whoever made those things.
those don't exist. Those are a different series.
Yeah, no. There's some things that you can't drag life out of stuff that's good standalone material like those. And that's what would you do with Let Me In or Let the Right One In? You're going to follow this little boy from the age 14 until he gets so old that he has to turn her loose again. So you'd have 70 years of having to follow around and watch him age. I mean, it's not super riveting.
Yeah. When I was reading about the Let the Right One In TV series, when I was just looking at it, I saw someone ask the question if they could teleport. And the responses people were saying was like, well, vampires are just really fast.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a good way to explain the idea of a vampire like appearing to be in one place and then another is just, well, they're just really fast.
Yeah. The whole idea of like behind a movie like Let the Right One In or Let Me In is kind of like the Highlander, where you get these scenario of this is what your life is like if you live forever, that you fall in love, your person you're in love with grows old and dies, and you just keep going. And even they cover that in the Highlander in like a little 15 or 20-minute montage.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you couldn't really turn that into a series. That would be tedious. But definitely, if you have a chance to check them both out,
yeah,
it's cool just to see the way they're both treated. There's some controversy with the first one, and that he is looking in on her changing because he's a 13, 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And that they portrayed in the movie that he actually sees her change her pants.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they specifically came out when they released the movie and said that, you know, these were prosthetics put over a model, and you did not see any child nudity because I guess at the age of these characters, it would have been portraying a very young adolescent. And there was some.
I understand the controversy because my thought is like, well, okay, it was prosthetics, but that you were still portraying that.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of one of those
is
things.
That any better?
Like you could just like you could show him like looking into the room and understand that that's what he was doing and not have to flip around and go through the trouble of having a brief scene of that. But
I guarantee you there's been someone somewhere to get like a latex bodysuit and just be the bodysuit's completely nude. They're running about and they get in trouble and they're like, but I'm wearing a latex bodysuit.
Well, this is just how insane people are at this point, is that people saw that have paused that little scene, I guess. And because it's a really obviously prosthetic suit thing that's kind of ambiguous looking, started to try to interject all this like gender stuff into the movies.
Oh,
and it's
this is the message that it has.
Yeah, and it was like, no, dude, it was they just were adding a scene that didn't need to be in the movie, and they did anyway against their bad judgment. And then on top of that, you get other people to jump in. It's like, oh, she's trans. I'm like, it's like, go outside and play. It's good for you.
Yeah, you could find the allegory if you want to push it in there, I guess. I mean, vampirism as a whole is about transformation.
Yeah.
All right. We move on to Crimson.
Yeah, come on.
All right. Have you ever heard of this before?
I saw the picture you had in our server stuff, and I was like, never seen that one.
So in the late 90s, I was a huge fan of the Cliffhanger comic production company. This is probably like my favorite uh, style of comics. I like comics that are almost manga-esque in their art, and Cliffhanger definitely had that. It only ran from 1998 to 2001. There are 25 issues, and the main character is a guy named Alex, and he's attacked by a gang of vampires, and he is saved by this man called Echimus. Now Echimus kind of looks like a monkey. He's like an ape-looking man, and this is one of the first times I remember hearing vampirism being linked to like biblical lore, and I ate it up. I loved it. And so Echimus was a Grigori. He was one of the angels that fought against heaven when Lucifer fell. He fought on the side of Lucifer. Yeah. And the Grigori were all wiped out, and he's the last one left, and he's been alive since before humans were even around. And he hooks up with Lilith, who is Adam's first wife, Lilith, pretty much. And Echimus isn't a vampire, but he can make vampires. And so like all vampires.
Is this Midnight Mass?
Right. So
it's almost like you're almost describing the lore that I wish they had worked into Midnight Mass.
Right, right.
It's like,
so all vampires are the children of Echimus and Lilith.
Okay.
And so he has this thing where he's very like, he hates what he's unleashed on the world. And he's been searching for the chosen one. And this is, I thought about the Matrix again when I was writing this up, because Alex dresses like in all leather. He has a trench coat, but this came out in 1998. So I think it was just that idea of like convergent creation, where it's just our culture for some reason was really into leather in the late 90s.
On the way into hell, is there like when you go into the airport and you have all those like goods duty-free stores, is there just like a leather trench coat shop?
Right.
It's like, oh, you're going back, you got to get you some leather.
Get some leather. But Echimus really wants to destroy all the vampires because he hates the blight that he's put on the world. And he believes that Alex is the chosen one that's going to be able to do this. And because Alex was changed into a vampire by Echimus, because he was left for dead by the vampires that attacked him, he gains a power of pyrokinesis. He can manipulate fire and control fire. And so that makes him like different from the other vampires. But aside from that, I mean, you're talking, aversion to garlic. He can levitate. He is allergic to the sun. I mean, he's basic vampire lore, right? Yeah. One of the things I remember finding really interesting that I haven't really seen in any other vampire mythos is, okay, he craves human blood, but he can sustain himself off of like animal blood. And he does do that. He'll eat some animals, but he'll also get like plasma, like the bags of blood, and he'll drink that. He is against eating humans. And one of the things in this, and this is the part that I haven't seen elsewhere, he can still eat human food, but it tastes bad to him. Like it doesn't, it makes him sick.
Yeah.
But he can like concentrate and remember what a hamburger tasted like. And if he eats the hamburger when he's like concentrating about what it's like the best hamburger he ever had.
I've seen something in some other kind of media where it was
something like that,
where they were forcing themselves to eat so they could fit in. But I think they were either having to go back and like throw it up later or something. I cannot remember what series or what media that was in, but
yeah, the idea that vampires can't consume human food anymore, I think that fits.
Yeah.
I like that idea. And then this story goes into, it has like this ancient order called the Order of the Red Hood, who just fights against demons and devils and stuff. It brings in werewolves, fallen angels, the Knights Templar. There's a vampire politician. There's dragons. I mean, so it's a very bombastic comic series. And it's one of those series that I'm like, man, I wish they would do something else with it. I complain all the time that they try to do something with a media and they just screw it up.
Yeah.
So like I'm conflicted. On one hand, I'm like I love Crimson for what it is. It was a product of the time.
Yeah.
Um, it was like after Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so there was a lot of that kind of feel to the
It's almost one of those things. I wouldn't trust anybody to do anything with it. There wasn't like a Japanese animation studio,
right, and that's what I'm
because
thinking. I'm like,
anybody else here would, they just can't do it anymore. I don't.
don't let Netflix touch it.
Yeah, it's a shame that there's nobody here that can't just. You think they could establish themselves in a marketplace and just make money until they got sick of making money if a studio would just come out and just do what fans wanted. But
Well, I've said it multiple times. It's whether or not you actually respect the material.
yeah,
Are you respecting the material, or are you trying to take advantage of the fan base,
yeah.
profit off of them,
And
or
do you
preach
really,
to them?
or do you
That's the
really
other one.
think that you know everything better than everybody else on the planet because you live in a certain zip code in California? I
Yeah,
mean, it's just
there was I don't know his name. There was a guy who's made a bunch of stuff for Netflix, like Castlevania. He made a Castlevania anime. He made Devil May Cry anime. Um, I'm thinking he's trying to get a Berserk. He's trying to get rights to Berserk,
hmm,
and I haven't watched any of his stuff, but people seem to dislike it because, like, okay, like in Devil May Cry, you fight against demons, but in the anime, the demons are just like families that are trying to get by. So he inserts that kind of stuff into it.
yeah. Like the
So
what was the thing on Prime with the Lord of the Rings where they tried to show you orc families and their
right,
children? It was
yeah,
like,
like
come on,
get so sometimes you just say, hey, these are bad guys. And in Crimson, aside from Alex and Echimus, yeah, the demons are evil. I mean, if it's a demon, it's evil. There are good vampires like I think the name is Joe, a character that Alex becomes friends with, who like teaches him the ropes of being a vampire.
hmm,
Because even though Echimus is like a Yoda character, Alex runs away because I mean he's scared, and that I think that's when Joe finds him, and they create a kind of a friendship.
hmm,
It's a great series. It's not incredibly like you're not going to read it and then think about it a bunch. I mean, you'll think about it. Hey, that was a cool scene, but it's not going to create a lot. It's not thought provoking.
yeah,
It's just fun.
yeah.
Apparently, I didn't know this. There was a complete Crimson published in 2008. It's like a hardcover.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna get that. I have all these individual issues, but I've gotten to the point to where if I'm gonna read, like I have my individual issues, but I'd prefer to just keep them in the bag. I don't want to touch them, especially because they're 30 years old at this point.
Hmm. The people that follow the werewolves and vampires and witches and all that kind of stuff still are owed a movie every once in a while that's kind of like a Godzilla. It's
Yeah.
just toys slamming against each other and blowing things up.
So at some point we should probably talk about like versus films because I think they're. I mean, we did talk about like aliens and stuff like that. Alien versus Predator. I think we have far too few versus films.
Yeah, I keep seeing it on YouTube. I need to watch it because it's on the DC animated stuff. There's like it's a Batman versus Dracula, right?
Really, no, that's cool.
I think like Dracula actually works his way into several Batman series. Um, but yeah, it looks like it's an older, like maybe just after 2000s,
Okay,
like
yeah.
maybe 2005, 2006, something like that. But I've, I've talked to some people, and I think they talk about how that it coexists in the comics too. I guess it was in the comics first, and there's several appearances of Dracula there, and I'm like, I'll try it. It can't be any worse than anything else that we get.
Right. See, Batman versus Dracula. Yeah, it's a animated cartoon, 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be fun.
If you watch that DC stuff there versus like 4 or 5 years later, there really is a jump in their animation quality. Those 2005, 2006 things are kind of like something you'd see on like a Saturday morning level of animation, but
Right.
they do get better. But they're still fun if you're okay just watching not great animation.
All right, and also there was Batman fights Dracula in 1967.
Was that an Adam West thing, or no? Was that before him?
No, Jing Abalos
No idea.
plays Batman. It looks like it's maybe Spanish. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
There was another
I,
character. Go ahead.
I will say I'd almost watch that just to watch Batman in Spanish. Just
Yeah. There was another comic series that I have some issues of, but I've never read because I haven't completed the run yet. Called Vampy. Okay, you know who Vampirella is.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So Vampy was like around the same time as Crimson, like early 2000s. So it kind of had that, again, that like manga feel to it, and it takes place in the future, and it's just like a different version of Vampirella. I've never really been a fan of Vampirella.
I don't know. I know the imagery from it, and that's about it.
Yeah, Vampy, like she has these blades, and I think it was probably because of Blood Rain. Like I probably got into like noticed Vampy because of Blood Rain because they were around the same time. She has like these blades that her weapons are just like these swords that go the opposite direction, like down the length of her arm,
yeah,
and it's almost I don't know if cyberpunk's the right word, but there's like technology. It's taking place in the future, so technology is involved.
yeah.
I like the aesthetics. I have, like I said, I haven't read it, so I don't really know anything about the character or the comic itself. I just bought it because I was like, this looks cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the classic Dracula. That's what we're talking about next.
1992.
Okay. That
This
long
was
ago? I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
this was when I was
Keanu
first
Reeves.
starting to be able to drive and get out and go see what I wanted to go see. And I remember it was like a big thing. It was probably one of the first times that I was able to like go to the theater and just buy tickets for an R-rated movie and got in. And didn't have somebody like question you or saying that you had to go get somebody to buy the tickets for you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess I was looking old,
Did you have the beard
looking old
then?
back then. No, no. But probably easily the most popular mainstream movie. It was a $40 million budget, so it was a huge production, but it made 215, almost 216 million worldwide.
Really? See, if you had asked me before about telling me that, I would have said that I thought that this movie was like a, a flop.
Yeah,
But no, it was successful.
it you know, trying to say that there was buzz about things back in that world is just a completely different animal. There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
social media and stuff, but like even out in Fincastle, I was hearing like, "Oh man, you got to go see this. This
Mm.
is amazing," and blah blah blah. And it was probably the most stylized thing I think I'd ever seen, for sure, with the production and stuff they did into that. And I mean, good lord,
I
you're talking about
watched a
like,
while.
no, go ahead.
I watched a while ago, like a little short film on the production of it,
Oh yeah,
showing how they did things like with forced perspective and like models and stuff like that. It was
oh yeah,
fantastic. It was really interesting.
yeah, yeah. There's some stuff there that you were just thinking, it's like, oh, that's cool effects, and it probably was literally like just turning the camera so it looks like he's crawling up a wall,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Or you when it goes through the blue flames, you thought that was cool and you saw it in the theater, and you go back and see it, and it looks like it was just painted
Right.
over the film. But I'm talking about like the Lost Boys having such a cast in it. This thing, I could see how you could get to $40 million now by just employing all of these people to be in one movie. Or
Absolutely.
Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, Anthony Hopkins, Monica Bellucci, Carrie Elways, Tom Waits. I mean, that's just the top line. I mean, it was a pretty massive undertaking of a movie, but
Monica Bellucci was in it.
she is
She was one of the brides.
one of the brides on the. I guess that was kind of the buzz that was getting around to people in high school my age.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta
Was
see
like,
it.
you gotta go see this thing. There's like all these girls like come out of the bed, and you're like, wow, yeah, that would have been a much younger Monica Bellucci.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think we were talking maybe before this about Gary Oldman, about how just the crazy variety of things that he does,
Oh
and
yeah.
how he's just never bad in anything. It's one of those things. I didn't know actors and stuff back then, so I never really thought twice about who played Dracula in that back when I saw it. And then you go back and start to learn. It's like, oh, that's that guy. It's like, how was the guy in The Professional, the guy that played that old white vampire?
That I would call him a chameleon actor, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. But really, the first modern day or modern retelling of any of the classic monsters that I can remember ever seeing, because we didn't have any Frankensteins or any no real Wolfman movies. There were werewolf movies when I was a kid, but the
I hate to use this term, but I feel like like this Dracula almost like started to kick off the idea of like a cinematic universe
yeah,
for like Universal monsters,
it,
because this came about and then they made Mary Shelley's Frankenstein a few years later, right?
yeah, yeah,
They weren't associated, but
yeah.
it,
No,
it gave them the idea to.
that's the biggest thing that it just seems to be fumbled and fumbled again and again. Is that they even tried to do that? Tom Cruise made that Mummy movie a while ago, and they said that this thing that Julia, um, that werewolf movie that just came out with Julia Garner or Julie Garner,
Wasn't called the Wolfman.
yeah,
Yeah.
that actually was supposed to be that was a Universal movie too, and I think there was talks like that would be part of like our big monster cinematic thing, and I guess they produced it. And it's like, well, we just made a complete crap movie, so never mind. It's like how can they not get one person to oversee that and just give me creative control to do Dracula, Frankenstein? I mean,
That's one of the. I think Tom Cruise was wanting that, but
yeah,
his Mummy film just completely was a wet fart.
you've got that Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro. Yeah.
Just about spit on myself every time I try to say that guy's name. Um, he's got that Frankenstein movie coming soon, right?
Does he?
Is it early next year or is it end of this year? Might actually be like right at Christmas time.
It says 2025. Yeah, I could see that being a Christmas Day movie. Yeah, just Frankenstein.
It's like why not? Why do you not just give creative control of all of them to him and say, make me a Dracula movie, a Frankenstein movie, and then you don't have to go back and do some backstory thing. Everybody knows who these characters is. Come back and make something where they all intertwine.
August 30th?
It already came.
Did it come and go?
I don't
Oh,
know.
wait. It's getting a limited theatrical release starting October 17th, 2025, and ending November 7th. So, in a couple of days now.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. I've been too busy to even look at what's in the theaters
Yeah.
lately, but
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things with all these companies. All the companies, DC and Universal is really the only two. But even Disney, I think, with like Tron, they want to have these expansive universes, but they don't have one person overseeing it. Like Marvel has. Marvel has had one person that has overseen the Feige everything
if it
that
doesn't
they've done.
if it doesn't start with something really good, then there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, as much as I've grown to just loathe and groan every time somebody even says the word Marvel at this point, the first Avengers movie is probably one of the two best superhero movies
Yeah.
that's ever been made.
Oh, I mean,
And
I would up until Infinity War. I think almost all of the films up until Infinity War, I think, are still good films,
yeah,
and I think they do a good job at building a universe.
if you take the universe that Bram Stoker's Dracula built in 1992 and followed up anything with it with the same kind of vision, you probably would have had that little series
Mm-hmm.
of movies, and you could have spin-offs and combo movies with Wolfman and Dracula and stuff like that. But I guess maybe not Dracula in this one because he doesn't make it.
There
Spoiler
was
alert.
Dracula Reborn. Is that what it was
It's
called?
like in
There,
2000 or something.
that was an attempt of like,
Yeah, I think
and then I Frankenstein. Every one of them is a false start, man.
yeah, yeah. And I guess if you want to play the story out to the end of it, it doesn't leave you a lot of places to go
Yeah.
because when he's, you'd have to have somebody get bitten and carry it on or something, but that still wouldn't be a Dracula movie at that point. It'd just be another vampire. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's at the time I can't think of anything else in 1992 that was anything like it. The way they did the visual, they did have some. You mentioned like the Evil Dead kind of shot. They did a lot of that too. Like when
Mhm.
he came ashore and he was like that kind of almost wolf looking beast, where
Yeah, he had.
he was moving along the ground and they were kind of. It wasn't like a really fast thing like Evil Dead. It was like it jumped. You know, like it showed like going to here and jumping up the steps and all that. And
Yeah.
that was really cool visuals.
Yeah, that the aside from Hellsing, the idea that Dracula can transform into like other creatures is pretty limited. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah, he comes around a window is like sort of the green gas, and then
Yeah.
when he actually transfers into the full bat monster, that's probably one of the best parts of that movie. Is like that creature effect was awesome. It's a shame that maybe it was just too hard to incorporate that into the movie. It would have been kind of cool if for the rest of the movie he was just that, because that was a freaky looking, especially for 1992. That was a probably better looking monster than Nosferatu in the remake here. But yeah, it's yeah, I think all the vampire stuff that really followed owes their existence to this movie, because
Oh, absolutely.
in my lifetime before that, there really was nobody was making horror movies about any of these guys.
Well, even though, like I said earlier, that the modern vision of what a vampire is kind of got established in that book Vampire, Dracula became like the standard.
Yeah.
Mary Shelley's not Bram Stoker's Dracula
Yeah.
became the standard of like, well, this is what a vampire is.
Yeah.
And even though like Lost Boys was a few years before this, 5 years or so before this, it almost felt like Dracula came about and was like, no, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have your vampire stories, but this is what it is. And they definitely created a line, like drew a line in the sand and was like, this is how a vampire should be. These are the power sets and stuff like that.
I say they're one of the vampire things, prior to this, but the things that were like Fright Night and Lost Boys, where they were really
Fright Night, yes,
they're really comedic.
Yeah,
they weren't like a big dramatic film like this, and this really did kind of change the genre, at least for the things that I had seen anyway. So, and I think I have to put it out there as like one of the best horror movies that I've seen. I have others that I prefer more, but you can't really argue that this wasn't on a top something list of horror films.
Yeah, I definitely respect the film. I enjoy the film, but I think more than that, I respect it.
Yeah, and it's for something I don't remember. Seems like it was long, 2 hours and 7 minutes, and not super long, but still for a 2 hour plus movie, it's really rewatchable. I mean,
you mentioned how Chloe Grace Moretz you kind of thought was going to be more of a like an A-list star and a leading lady kind of thing. I remember thinking that about Winona Ryder between this and Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Like everybody they expected her to kind of be the breakout star and in all these movies, but really aside from this, I could think of she was in Alien Resurrection and then Stranger Things.
Edward Scissorhands was before this too.
Edward Scissorhands, yeah.
These are both before Dracula, so yeah, I guess kind of watching her come along too, you were kind of thinking, well, she's going to be like the female Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And she just kind of disappeared.
Right.
But good resurgence in her later stuff.
Yeah.
Got Heathers pops up there.
True.
That's not a movie to throw into this conversation, but
I think at the time, if you had asked if Winona Ryder or Keanu Reeves was going to be the actor to make it,
the enduring one.
Right, you would have thought Winona Ryder.
Well, watching Keanu Reeves go through and try to do the British thing through this movie was like, wow, that's an interesting choice.
But it almost endears him to me though. It's oh, you're doing a good job. good try. Yeah. I feel the same way about Johnny Mnemonic. Like I love Johnny Mnemonic. I'm honest about Johnny Mnemonic. I know it's not a great film. I know Keanu Reeves doesn't really do it. He's not great in it, but it endured itself to me because of those things.
I don't even know how people rate Point Break. That's easily in my top 10 most rewatched movies that I own, or even movies that I don't own. I've seen that movie so many times, and I just love that movie, man. It's so good. I'm sure if you rated it on a scale they used to judge movies, it would be like
the quality scale.
It'd be like a negative something, but I'm like, it doesn't matter, man. It's just awesome.
All right, so that's pretty much our favorite depictions of vampires in media.
Yeah, lots of material out there. 30 Days of Night's an awesome movie. There's all kinds of different genres of things that are good ones, but I think these ones stood out to me. As soon as you said something about vampires, I was just like, I think I had a little piece of paper there, and I just wrote down, those are the first three that I wrote, and I went back and looked at other things. I was like, did I put any of these in front of these? And I was like, nope.
Yeah.
It's like,
it was definitely when I was just writing up the summaries and the ideas of the three things that I wanted to talk about I mean, I even spoke about Vampy when I was talking about Crimson. You kind of remember all these other vampire depictions. You're like, oh, that one was pretty good. That one was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of them kind of come back though as not a spin-off, but they kind of owe their existence to a lot of the ones that I think that we've kind of talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think overall, I would say that I'm not nearly as tired of vampires as I am zombies. Like I think I could always use more vampire films.
I, any of the genres, if it's a good movie, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
I'd, I'd like to do zombies to get back to zombies instead of look how bad people are once
Yeah.
zombies get here. I'm like, okay,
There's
we can
this
just
is nothing to do with anything, but there's a game called Dying Light. I'll have to show you at some point. It's a fantastic game. It's a zombie game, and it's just a great zombie game.
Is that the one where there's like massive hordes of things that are like running at you and stuff, or am I thinking of a different game?
You might be thinking of you're thinking of
I've seen some clips of things on YouTube, and there's one
it's
where there's like they're like in a farm or something, and there's just zombies just pouring over the fence and stuff. I'm not a gamer, obviously.
you would probably really like that as well. Days Gone is what you're thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the one like where you're in like I think you're in a mall and you can manipulate everything in the mall, and you just are like smashing zombies with like
That was back on like the Xbox 360.
for sale signs and like musical instruments and stuff. I've never played it, but
That's Dead Rising.
I completely would be down for those kind of games. I'm like, just what zombies running here, and you grab a coffee cup and I grab like a flashlight, and you fight your way out. That's just.
And there was also Dead Island. Goodness, there are a lot of zombie games.
Yeah.
And one of the things between Dying Light and Dead Island, because like the Dying Light people made, who their team was from the people who made Dead Island.
Yeah.
They're really big on gathering supplies and making weapons. So like one weapon will be like you have just a pipe that you've strapped a board to, and the board has nails or something. It's just
you take the deer horns over there and put it onto the flashlight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's your weapon.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's our discussion about our favorite vampires.
Yeah. And again, in the context of a follow-up to Midnight Mass, or
yeah,
I
would say
you put all those in one category. I put Midnight Mass here, and then those other things are like little bubbles down below them. But
when we were discussing Midnight Mass, I said how I kind of feel like the vampires of Midnight Mass were a bit more like zombies.
Yeah.
But after thinking about and seeing all the different depictions of vampires and how literally they'll just like say, well, we'll take this power and we'll take this power and this weakness, and that's a vampire. It's like a salad bar of powers and weaknesses that people just get to pick and choose from. I definitely think Midnight Mass is way into the vampire and not zombie category.
Definitely, I always have trouble remembering his name. It's Flanagan, right?
Flanagan.
Yeah, that he's definitely somebody that's dwelled in the horror stuff deep enough to have a good understanding of the material that he works in. And that's what I always say is, if you're going to do something, then research it and do it right. And I'd say he put his hours in to get to the product there at Midnight Mass. I think that was a decade in the making. So
I really think that and you've watched it like 5 times at this point, but I think that show definitely can sit on the shelf amongst the greats.
Yeah,
absolutely. He did a fantastic job of that. He really did.
So we're at the end of our coffee service.
Yep. And
which is their final part of this month's series. So we've got to get a topic for the next one.
And this is fortune cookie time. And Joel, you get to pick.
I get to pick, and nobody eats because these fortune cookies
are so stale.
They're so stale that my dog probably wouldn't eat them at this point.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Actually, my dog would probably eat them, but then he'd just look at me like, why did you do that?
That was disgusting.
So I cannot rattling this to death under the microphone, but I cannot figure out how to get into it.
Here we go.
Oh, wow. That is a rubbery fortune cookie.
It's a rubbery fortune cookie. That's not good.
I'm not sure if I can even crack it open.
Oh, goodness. There you go.
We should take bets on who could like chew and eat that. Ooh. We're going to be hitting my topics, apparently.
Okay, what is this?
This is the Empty Man.
The Empty Man.
And this may cause a problem
Uh-oh.
because right now it's inaccessible.
Uh-oh.
I've looked for DVDs of them, and it is not on a streaming service at the moment, I don't think, unless somebody's picked it up. I know we just had a month change, so maybe
Oh, available on Hulu.
check that because it
Click.
was available there. I'm not sure if it still is.
Well, I'm not signed into Hulu on this computer.
We'll have to look.
All
If
right.
we audible that, we'll announce that at the beginning of our next one.
We might do something
It is
else.
for me, it's an amazing movie. It's one of the ones that I like to have people over to show to, and
Okay.
I've been trying to find a copy of it for the last several months, and I know when I've looked online, like it just doesn't exist. You can't buy a Blu-ray or a DVD of it. I'm going to continue to look for that and try to figure out a way to own it. But definitely one I would like to, if we can track it down, I like to watch it together to get some live reaction, kind of like when we watched The Mist.
Well, apparently there was a comic of the Empty Man.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's a series. It was like
it's
a series of graphic novels.
Okay.
So we can get into more of that if we can actually find a way to actually watch the movie because it might be a difficult topic to follow up on if
Went to eBay and looked for the Empty Man. I'm getting vintage little cigars, empty Magic the Gathering boxes, a Moon Cobalt Blue empty glass.
There is a dude that has hooked me up. He's the one that hooked me up with Symbiotic Titan. That by no means stretch of the imaginations that I think he would have a copy of it when he sells bootleg stuff. And I saw him at a show. I was like, "You wouldn't by chance have Symbiotic Titan?" He's like, "Yeah, hang on a second." And I was like, "What?" And he went down under his table and found a copy of it. I was like, "You are my hero."
Just give him a call. Hey,
I need to find out if he has Midnight Mass and if he has Empty Man, because if people are going to lock stuff up on streaming services and hold them hostage, then heck with you. I'll buy a bootleg copy, and what you going to do? Come to my house and try to take it back and see what happens.
All right, so that is going to be, I guess, in 2 episodes from now, because we have our next episode is going to be appetizers.
Yes.
And that's about the things that we've been watching this month.
Yeah, I've got some good guys on that. I've had some time to pursue a couple things and
nice.
Have watched some fairly enjoyable series and things to talk about. So
okay. I've been playing a lot of No Man's Sky and Dune. I need to do something besides playing No Man's Sky and Dune.
Yeah.
Because I've talked about both of those, but I don't really have any more to say other than I'm still enjoying them.
My hour count is up to. I was relaying, talking about some games at the last show. We were just in West Virginia at a Subasacon, and I think it's right. I think that's how you say it. Talking about gaming, I was like, I have a friend that plays this. He's been playing No Man's Sky since it came out, and it's like I was trying to remember the hour count that you told me one time, and I was like, does 12,000 sound right?
About that.
And I think he was like 1,200, maybe.
Yeah, it's like 2,500.
I couldn't remember. I was like, it seems like that's excessively high, but I know you've played it for excessively high amounts of time. And I was like, maybe that's 12,000.
Yeah, it's 2,500. How much would 12,000 be, like day wise?
Yeah, years.
Yeah,
like maybe a decade. I don't know.
12,000 divided by 24, 500 days.
Be almost 2 years of doing nothing but
nothing
play
but
that.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Well, one of the issues, like with Dune Awakening, the count of the game time is off, because I'll do stuff like bring up the launcher, because in like Steam you hit play and then it brings the launcher up, and then you have to hit launch to play the game. And while that launcher is up, Steam counts that as game time. But I'll bring the launcher up and it'll just sit in the back while I'm doing other stuff. Yeah. Like I'm not playing it yet. I'm like, well, I'm going to play it in a little bit, but then I get distracted or whatever. So yeah, my Dune Awakening time is probably off, by like 50 hours.
You want to close with the fortune?
The
fortune cookie.
What's the fortune?
You will pass a difficult test that will make you happier.
Okay.
So maybe that's directed to you in your gaming.
My difficult test.
Yeah. I don't think I have any tests coming up. But
maybe it's a test of wills.
I was going to say maybe just getting through another show.
Well, that's that's it for what episode is this? 30?
31.
31.
31.
Is it? Yeah, episode 31.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks, Joel. It's been fun.
It's been a interesting one that very time consuming, but
yeah,
lots of good stuff there.
That was about 2 hours, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Later.